Hi, good evening, everybody. Just gonna wait for some of you more to get in. Very excited for today's talk. We're going to be discussing a lot on NFT and how you lovely people can dive into this world and create opportunities for yourself. We're just getting some people in. Hi. How's everybody doing? Roberta, Mateo, Miss Springs, La Patria. Just waiting for some more on our Facebook. Cool. 6 on our Instagram, 5 on our Facebook. Hi Lauren. Hi Gabriel. Hi Rosalia. Hope you're all doing wonderfully. Before we start, I think it's a good time to maybe get some questions actually written in the chat, which I can address at the end. Of course, during the whole talk, you'll also be free to ask as many questions and write as many questions as you want, as you feel you have. Sorry, Rosalia, I can't turn my volume up more than this. Sorry, that's from our Facebook stream as well. I really hope you can hear me. Oh dear. You guys still can't hear me on the Facebook? If you can hear me on Facebook, we also have it on Instagram. So on Bixie, on my Bixie, at my Bixie. So if Facebook is too difficult for you guys to hear, you can always check it out over there as well. I really don't know what I can do to change my volume. Terribly sorry. But yes, any questions? First of all, no, and if not, then we can just get started. So the talk today is of course NFT 101, so I'm going to be talking you through a very basic sort of idea about what the NFT world is, how you can maybe foster opportunities for yourself, and how you can create additional income streams utilizing this wonderful technology, which is now at the forefront of this next technological paradigm shift. This is, it's as big as the internet, and it's crazy. There's a lot of potential in this sphere. So, without further ado, we'll get started. First of all, from the post, you might have already seen a very brief introduction as to what an NFT actually is. An NFT is essentially a unit of data, which is stored in a digital ledger called the blockchain. An NFT can be bought, traded, minted, which is created, or burned, which is destroyed. So an NFT represents a contract for a method of acquiring a good. A good which is marketed digitally, of course. So can I make money from NFT? That is the burning question that many people have right now. We're seeing NFT in the media come up. It's been there for, just shy about a year in the sort of popular streams, and it's now coming up on a lot of radars for a lot of companies, for a lot of individuals, entrepreneurs, business owners, etc., artists, creators, absolutely anything. So in short, yes, you can make money. Anybody can make it. I can do it. You can do it. Your neighbor's children can do it. Their parents can do it. An NFT at its heart simply represents the method of acquiring an asset. We only currently associate NFT with digital assets because so far that has been the strongest manifestation of it in popular culture. If you have anything that is worth having to absolutely anybody, you can sell it as an NFT. There's no limit to what can be sold as an NFT. There are only legal gray areas for how to actuate those transactions after a sale. What I mean is that, for example, you can technically sell your house as an NFT, but you will still need to go through the legal processes, which you would conventionally have to go through anyway. Though we think that things like this are going to change. One of the biggest aspects of NFT is that it democratizes transactions. People are no longer restricted by geography, by law, and things like this into where they put their money. It's all very transparent, it's all very clear to see, and there are very few barriers to actually investing and making money from NFT. NFT has, already changed the lives of millions and millions of people. I have a large creative network of artists and creators in Asia and just from other developing nations as well, and I can see firsthand the kinds of experiences and opportunities that it's provided to people, even close to myself. A lot of my friends are now quitting their full-time jobs in order to pursue NFT full-time, which is incredibly exciting, and this is absolutely only the beginning. The NFT space really helps people connect to the blockchain to participate in international financial trade, essentially, without the hindrance that geographic borders sometimes bring in. So of course, we talk about NFT, we see NFT. There's a question which many of you ask, which is, where do I buy an NFT? Now, an NFT can be bought directly from a website of a project, or it can be bought on an NFT marketplace. So there are many marketplaces. For example, there are the OpenSea, Rarible, Foundation, Hicket, Nunk, WazirX, Known Origin, many, absolutely many. And in addition, as I mentioned, in addition to the marketplaces, you can actually acquire an NFT from the website of a project owner who will code the smart contract directly into their website so that you can purchase it directly from them. Simply put, you can essentially buy an NFT directly from the creator, from the vendor, or you can buy it from a marketplace, which is what is known as the secondary market. Each method has its own, features, specifications, and uniqueness. So like, your experience buying from the marketplace will be slightly different to your experience buying from the creator itself, directly from their main platform. So an NFT marketplace essentially resembles an e-commerce portal. However, the only difference is that the goods being bought in these marketplaces do not need to be inherently associated with a tangible physical product. There exist marketplaces for different digital currencies as well, each representing a different blockchain and different transactional features, environmental impact, and roadmaps. So of course, every currency, every digital currency could technically have very different environmental impacts and implications depending on how much it's used and things like this. Ethereum has recently and historically been known to be quite a polluting cryptocurrency with a large carbon footprint, but the industry is now shifting towards greener and cleaner blockchains. So yeah, I'd like to now move on to our next question, which is NFT a good investment? So this is an interesting one. NFTs, if I haven't made it clear already, NFT is not a product in itself. An NFT is a method of acquiring a product. So to simply ask if NFT is a good investment or not is going to warrant a lot of different answers. One thing is that, NFT represents acquiring the good. One does not invest in NFT, one invests in the project utilizing NFT as the method of investment. So research around the project will help clear the doubts of the collector as to whether they're making a smart investment or not. Every project varies, every project has its own limitations and successes, and ultimately it's the decision of the purchaser, collector, for where they want their money to go. So it will take time, it will take research, it will take hours and hours of you crawling through the internet, looking for meaningful projects in order to find something nice to invest in. One thing to always look out for is community. In the NFT space, community is what really makes projects thrive. The connections that people foster amongst themselves really facilitate this the huge speed at which word of mouth really travels in the NFT space. So much opportunity comes from just being in the right place at the right time and speaking to the right people. These people form their own communities. Every community is formed of artists, creators, people in tech, finance, banking, absolutely anything. As long as there's community involved and the community is active, then there's a high chance that the NFT project that you're looking at could be successful. It's not to say that a great community immediately correlates to a very successful project for investment. It also depends on what that community is trying to establish with their projects. So whether they are going for more of a utility approach to their entrance into NFT. So whether their digital product grants you access to, I don't know, a social site or a social club or something like this. That's something that can be represented by utility in NFT, and yeah, it's essentially it's the communities which really make projects successful. Everybody's seen the Bored Ape Yacht Club and CryptoKitties and all of these seemingly unidimensional art projects which are selling for prices as high as a couple hundreds of millions and things like this. It's not to say that those projects are no longer worthy of investing in, but the industry shifts, the industry moves, and it changes every minute. What one project might have been meaningful yesterday, today may no longer have that appeal for the masses. So, is NFT a good investment? You really need to have a look and do research into whichever projects that you want to invest in. So yeah, on our final section actually is NFT and gaming. So NFT and gaming represents a huge world actually. It encompasses many industries, including one of the industries I'm currently working in, so fashion. We've always had this sort of desire for uniqueness in video games and for customizing our own characters, for representing ourselves better in the digital form. This is only getting more and bigger with NFT. There exist now we're getting a lot of focus on something called metaverse, which is sort of like a collective term now for a virtual world where you can immerse yourself within and just communicate with people in the, similar to how you would in real life, except it's through a digital interface. So these environments are essentially piggyback on people's need for individuality. So when we talk about NFT and gaming, we talk about customization, we talk about in-game currencies, we talk about in-game real estate, for example. We talk about essentially the real world is an imitation. Sorry, the virtual world is an imitation of the real world. Whatever happens in the real world financially can technically happen in the virtual world as well. So this extends to gaming very well. Pretty soon, the fashion industry is going to start changing NFT gaming as well. Right now we're seeing a revolution in digital fashion where fashion supply chains are now being streamlined to a more digital process. And then these digital files, which are actually replacing prototypes in the fashion design stage, are actually able to be utilized within the metaverse as final products. So I could create a t-shirt, I could also create an NFT of a t-shirt with a 3D file, deliver that to a metaverse, and then through the sale of one t-shirt, I've actually sold two t-shirts. One t-shirt in the real world, one t-shirt in the virtual world. There are ways that you can make income, of course. Everything that I've mentioned, everything that has anything related to creation can be monetized. Anything you create as an NFT can be sold. Anything you earn as an NFT can be traded for a higher value. There are many ways in which you can make money through NFT and gaming, and to just to begin to learn how to invest in things with less less with cryptocurrencies which have less real world impact when you invest in them. Let's say with cheaper coins, with less popular coins on these gaming platforms and things like this. So yes, that was a lot to go over. I'm sorry if it wasn't clear. I would love to get questions on absolutely anything. One thing to add about NFT games is that, you know, as I mentioned, that you can create you can get your income from it and things like this, but I also mentioned the overlap of fashion in that, and actions which you may conduct in the virtual sphere will earn you the digital currency of whatever platform you are enjoying. So if you are a real world entrepreneur who works in fashion and creation and art and anything, you can transfer these skills into the virtual world, still create your assets in a digital way, and just make money from those. There are many ways to make money from NFT. It's a very early space, so it's very exciting, and I'm really happy to have all of you here and to listen to me. I'd like to take a minute to also thank Bixie, and for bringing all of you lovely people here. I would also appreciate it if you all would follow Bixie and the page, and doing all that stuff, and just making sure that more talks like this can happen to get information to you lovely people. So now I'm going to be looking through the questions on Instagram first, and then I'll head over to the questions on Facebook. So Instagram, Facebook. So let's see. Our first question was, how did you start making NFTs? What was your journey? And that was from Rosalia. My journey started in, I think, January. I actually had some friends who were generating income for themselves, actually through playing NFT video games. And this was during a time when Ethereum was slightly more volatile, so it was at a much lower price. You could gain a lot more through the actions that you would be doing and things like this. It's only been in the past like 2-3 years where Ethereum has really picked up. So that's just one of the blockchains. Anyway, I have, let me just need to connect. So sorry, iPad running out of juice. Great, there we go, we're back. So I started making NFTs. Essentially, my friend told me about this space. He said, she said, listen, you need to get in this sphere. You're a digital creator, your artwork is, well, it's whatever it is, and there might be a market for you in NFT. And I sort of took it on a whim at the time because, you know, like everybody, I was very skeptical. But as soon as I joined the space, everything changed. Wow, the opportunities I was getting, the people I was meeting, and the connections that I was creating were really powerful. I have met so many incredibly inspiring people in NFT, and I'm only meeting more and more every day. It's such a new, fresh, dynamic, and powerful space to be involved in right now. Where if anybody feels lost in their career, I would immediately tell them to turn to the communities in NFT that you can find. So I started in February. I've been part of a few exhibitions and shows. I've sold not so many of my works, but a little bit. And currently I'm working on a digital fashion project, which is going to be launching in January. Hopefully I'll plug my Instagram so you guys can keep up with all of that. Bear with me. Okay. That was all these questions. Sorry, I'm scrolling, trying to get to all of you. Then we get Biwish. Sorry if I've butchered your pronunciation. How to start making NFT? Does it have to be in a digital file? An NFT does have to be a digital file, but it can be a digital file that represents a physical object. So let's say, for example, you're a painter or a baker. If you want to sell an NFT of a cake, you're well within your rights to do so. But if you're selling an NFT of a cake to, like, for example, your local vicinity, then it would make sense to offer the actual physical cake once you sell the NFT. So how to start making NFT? First of all, you need to get a wallet, a crypto wallet. The easiest way of doing this, in my opinion, is by, this is not advertisement or anything like that, is by using a Chrome or Firefox extension or Safari extension or Edge extension, browser extension called MetaMask. So you'll log into this, you'll create an account, and then this is a wallet. So you put money in it, you can then trade that money. Like, once you put money in it, you're then open to the whole digital currency world. One thing to remember is that whenever you make a wallet, you get a 12-word password, which is called your seed phrase. When you get this password, you write it down on a piece of paper, and you keep it somewhere safe in your house, away from anybody's eyes. And you never, ever share these 12 words with anybody. There was a story of a man who had a wallet in, I believe it was 2012 or 11, something like that. And he had a lot of Bitcoin. You know, he bought, I think, $1,000 worth of Bitcoin into it, then he forgot about it. Fast forward to 2018, he found out that he had this wallet, but he had lost the seed phrase. He had lost that 12-word password. So he was essentially locked out of his own account forever. By the time that he realized this, the worth of the money in that account was upwards of $114 million. So you need to be very careful with your security. You have to be on top of it. You have to make sure no one has access to your MetaMask but you, and that no one can ever have access to your MetaMask but you. I would suggest doing research on marketplaces, where to get your work in first, what type of work you create. If you're creating collectibles, one-of-ones, exactly what genre of work you're creating. Depending on the genre, you would then determine which platform works best for you. So yes, I hope that answers your question, Divish. What is the best marketplace for selling NFTs? I touched upon this in the last answer I just gave. It really depends on what you're trying to sell. If you're selling collectibles, OpenSea tends to do well. If you're selling one-of-ones, Foundation tends to do well. It really, really depends on what you're trying to sell, what your creative output is. Because these marketplaces are, of course, driven by community, and every community has its own art style, let's say. What is the best community space? The best community spaces, in my opinion, they started off in an app called Clubhouse. That's where most of the NFT stuff really took off. After Clubhouse, it went to Discord. After Discord, it went to Twitter Spaces. And now large communities have broken off into smaller communities, you know, communities for individual artists and things like this, which are harder to find now than it was in February. You're going to have to do a little bit of digging. You can find rooms on NFT in an app called Clubhouse. It's I'm sure you guys have heard of it. And yeah, that is my advice for community. What can become an NFT? Anything can become an NFT. If it's a digital good, it can become an NFT. If it's a physical good, it can become a digital good which represents a physical good. So absolutely anything can become an NFT. How does NFT relate to the metaverse, Natalia? NFT relates to the metaverse in the way that it is going to be the primary transactional method for the exchange of goods within the metaverse. So as I said, this is going to be an imitation of the real world. So as any imitation, we're also going to have an imitation of bartering and sales. So NFT is going to be the technology which is going to be used within metaverse to facilitate the trade of goods. How, when, and why did you start making NFTs? I believe I answered that. February to March I started, and I've been in the space since then. I got roped in by very, very talented friends of mine who are always keeping my best interests at heart and always showering me with opportunity. How will gamers benefit? We have a question. Moving and reselling assets. Fantastic. Great question. Here we touch on something called royalties. So, as I mentioned, in the metaverse, you can essentially conduct your real-world lifestyle obviously without the biological implications. You know, you can have like a digital version of yourself creating money, selling, creating, marketing, trading, whatever. So whatever goods that you sell, you can always attach something called a royalty to it. So if I attach a 10% royalty to an art piece of mine, and that art piece of mine sells for $1,000, great, I'll get $1,000 on day one. If on day two my art piece sells for $1,000 again, then I get 10% of that secondary sale. So I have $1,100 on day two, but I only made the sale myself once. But I'm generating income from it. So I recently got some royalties generated from one of my previous sales. So forever, as every single time that NFT will be traded, I will receive 10% of the value that it was traded for. So that is how people in Metaverse can really monetize their creative outputs. If you have something that you create which is designed for the masses, which can be marketed to the masses and actually purchased by the masses, then you can earn a very, very comfortable income with royalties alone. Another thing is that people in NFT are very generous. People will be stingy to pay £5 for a coffee in a coffee shop, but they'll pay hundreds and hundreds of pounds for a virtual cup of coffee. It's a very strange thing. The psychology behind it is very interesting, but that's another topic. What I'm saying is that there's plenty of money to go around in NFT, plenty of opportunity, and plenty of ways to make money. So royalties and in gaming will benefit creators, will benefit gamers, will benefit any of the stakeholders involved, as it's a way to just continuously generate income based on, I don't want to use the words community transmission just because of what's happening with COVID, but essentially the word of mouth transmission of the information. What space did I start selling my artwork on? I started selling my artwork on OpenSea. Very, very good platform. What's a collectible? What's a one-on-one? A collectible is a collection of digital assets which are normally randomized by an algorithm. So let's say I draw a picture of I don't know, a monkey, and I'm trying to create a collection of this a monkey collection, which a lot of people have done by now, by the way. So I would create one head or 5 different base heads, a few different skin tone bases, a few different accessories, glasses, hats, anything. And then I will use an algorithm to randomize outputs, essentially. So I'll have one monkey with a green hat, red glasses, mustache, and a pipe. I'll have another monkey with blue glasses, a monocle, a hat, and a banana. Right? And this is all randomly generated. So with a combination of about 40 or 50 different unique traits, you can create an almost infinite combination of collectible NFTs, which you would then have to market to your community well, which your community would market for you, which would then sell on OpenSea or on the platform which you're minting them yourself, which will generate income, which will finally generate royalties for you as well on secondary sales and things like this. So that's what a collectible is. A collectible is exactly a collectible. It's a generated image from an initial artist influence, which then becomes a large scale project for people to get involved in. Please let us know the Chrome extension. Yes, of course. The Chrome extension is called MetaMask. Now. I believe I will move over to the questions that we have from Facebook. So, we don't have questions on Facebook because the audio is so terrible that everybody actually came to Instagram, so that's okay. In that case, yeah, we have another question. What dangers are there for new people? Oh yeah, so this is an interesting one. You've got to do research essentially on how to keep yourself safe in this space. You need to make sure, first of all, I mentioned about the seed phrase and never giving your seed phrase details out to people. Second of all, you have to be really careful about what kinds of links you click. You know, I'm sure all of us in this, in our rooms, in this room, wherever, in this virtual space, receive multiple dozens of emails a day. You know, about spam, phishing, and attempts and things like that. And this extends to NFT world as well. You will get inbox messages which are seemingly promoting new projects or seemingly promoting a free NFT which you can get, you know, things like this. But as soon as you log into this like phishing site, it takes your details, and then you're essentially at risk of, you know, losing whatever you've worked for or gained or anything. Specifically how people target the technology, I'm not too well versed on that side, but if you write me a question, I can get the answers for you. I've got links with developers and things like this. So you need to be safe. Just sort of a general internet savvy safety applies as always. General trust in people and the implications that has should also be taken into account. And just remember that there are a lot of people in the NFT space who have your best hearts and interests, but at the same time, there are a lot of people who are trying to take advantage of you. So try to be as safe as possible. Security protocols are always updating. Always make sure you update yourself. And one thing that I never do is I never use MetaMask or any of my crypto wallets or anything to do with crypto trading on my phone. I only use my web browser and my MetaMask extension actually on Firefox. It's a very simple, foolproof way of keeping yourself safe. Just don't do anything beyond that. Just buy, sell, trade, invest. Yeah. The biggest thing to avoid in NFT? Nothing. It's there's nothing to avoid. There's opportunity to make everywhere. If you see a gap in the market, you can have that in NFT. If something inspires you in the real world, you can channel that into some kind of creative output for NFT. The biggest thing to avoid in NFT, I really couldn't say, but maybe right now we have a saturation of collectible projects. So I would say be very wary of where you put your money into if it's going to be on a collectible series. The market's got plenty of them, and you also need to be worried about something called altcoins, or excuse my French, how people call them, shit coins, pun intended on Bitcoin. So these are smaller currencies like Dogecoin and Gamercoin and things like this, which are incredibly volatile, which can quickly make people money, but they're not designed for holding assets within. And a lot of the times with these altcoins, you get something called rug pulls, where once it reaches a certain level of investors, people cash out, and then they're essentially pulling the rug from under you, and all of the money that you put in it has now become 5% of the initial value. Avoid FOMO, that's right. NFT space is something where every day there are so many new projects which are happening that you really want to be on top of your mental game, because you won't be able to get involved with every single project. I know I haven't, and I know the kind of stress that it can give you when you say, oh damn, if I invested $180 yesterday, I would have had 10,000 this morning. So these things have happened in the past, to me, to everybody. It's just the nature of the thing. Just avoid FOMO. This will happen whether you like it or not, but just be mindful of when you're thinking about NFTs a little bit too much. How do you set the price of an NFT? You can set the price through the marketplace. It really depends on what your marketing strategy is and everything. Thank you, Biwish. I'm very glad you enjoyed yourself. I know I did. I always love talking about this kind of stuff. Once again, I'd like to plug my Instagram. So that's I think it's written up there, Arash Khetrapal. So if you guys have more questions or would like more guidance, or would just like to be have a point of contact as a creative in the NFT space, I'd be happy to answer questions later on as well. And of course, again, everybody follow Bixie. Everybody get on Bixie. I think right now is a time when it is monumental to get involved in this space. It is a paradigm shift. We are early adopters. We're going to change the world. Another thing which I just wanted to relate this back to Bixie is that unfortunately in the NFT world, only 16% of NFT artists are actually women or self-identifying women. That's way too low. So there is a huge opportunity for women to become further involved in the NFT world in order to achieve that exact financial independence and technological independence which Bixie is advocating for. There's a huge space, there's a huge market. 16% to me sounds like it's untapped. So if any of you are artists, creators, if you paint mugs, if you do pottery, if you create beautiful canvases of artworks, if you create absolutely anything, get involved. It's a very dynamic, young, fresh space. Opportunity is being thrown around like hotcakes. And I encourage anybody I meet to get involved. So yeah. Rosalia, I don't know when the next event is. I'm sorry. But yes, if we have any more questions, I think I'll wrap this up in about 2 or 3 minutes. So get your questions in. I'll try to answer as many as I can. Sorry, in the next 4 minutes. Let's keep it in a round number. So yeah. I will. Yeah, I'll save the recording, definitely. Taking questions for 3 more minutes. Through everything. For those of you who are joining us now, I'm very sorry we're in the last segment of the talk. I think the recording will be available later. I will speak to the team and see if we can get that for you. What do I regret the most in my NFT journey? Not putting as much time in it as I should have. If I put in as much time as I'm putting in now into it as I was in day one, things would be different, but that's just the FOMO speaking. We had the degenerate artist who sent us the question earlier about FOMO. So that's the FOMO speaking. So to revise my answer, I would say, actually there's nothing I regret. Every experience has been positive. Of course, things happen, but that's just the way the world goes. It's not always 100% positivity. Sometimes things go up, things go down, How do you set the value, not the price? The value is set by the community. If one person wants something, it's not very valuable. But if 1 million people want the same thing, then it's very valuable. Diamonds have no inherent wealth attached to them, because we can manufacture them now. So, it's one of those things. It's the value that the community assigns to the asset. And that's what I meant by you really need to look into the communities when you're investing in NFT. So if the community is promising, then the NFT might also be promising. We have a question on the Facebook side which says, what is one thing to avoid in the NFT space? We already got asked this. So I said FOMO and just generally being on top of your game and staying safe and just doing whatever you can to make the experience a positive thing. As soon as it starts feeling negative, take a break. As soon as you start losing sleep over it, as soon as you're staying awake at night thinking of 2D pixel 8-bit images of alligators and crocodiles on skates, go to sleep. Have a rest. So yeah, we're at 10:40 now. Thank you all very, very much for joining today. Thank you all for your questions. You guys had wonderful questions. I really enjoyed speaking with you and I really enjoyed answering those questions. So yeah, I hope you guys have a lovely evening. Thanks once again. Follow me, follow Bixie, and make sure you guys keep up with all the wonderful talks that are going to be organized for you. Yeah, that's me. I'm done talking. Peace and love.